If your primary communication style is not assertive, then you may find it difficult to provide a negative response to requests that come from people who are close to you or whom you have invested with some kind of authority, at the workplace, for example. Saying yes to most or all the requests that come your way may take a great toll on your resources, such as time and energy, and it may also impact your self-esteem and confidence, among many other effects. To maintain control over these resources and use them for your own goals, it is important to learn how to say no. I imagine that some of you may now think, oh, okay, I will say no. That can't be all that hard. I need to stand up for myself. I'll say, you know what? I won't do this anymore. You're taking advantage of me. I'm done. Or you may think, it's correct, I say yes all the time, and people do take advantage of me. I won't help anyone from now on. They should be able to manage their own business. And that would be a good first step, in the sense that you are willing to take action. But those would all be aggressive messages. To say no assertively and prevent people from taking advantage of your good nature, it is important for you to consider two significant aspects. One regards the reasons why you find it difficult to say no in the first place, and the second addresses the actual communication of your refusal. Let's first take a look at the main reasons why we find it sometimes hard to say no to certain requests, and then I will share with you the basic elements of formulating an assertive no. Some of the reasons why we find it hard to say no include the following: thinking that we have no other options, thinking that we don't have the right to refuse, fear of being rejected, especially by people who are important to us, fear of potential conflict that may arise from saying no, the belief that good people always help others, the belief that others should not put you in uncomfortable positions, such as this one when you would have to refuse. We may also want to eliminate the responsibility for the consequences of our refusal. What if you say no and your colleague fails to complete a project and gets fired? And we may also find it hard to say no if our previous attempts have been less than successful. Perhaps our previous refusals were ignored or dismissed, and the person making the request assumed and expected us to solve a task anyway. The assertive truth is that we should be able to say no to those requests that we consider unreasonable, and our response should be acknowledged. Here are my recommendations on formulating an assertive no. Remind yourself that you have the right to say no, even if you have the resources to respond positively to a request. Make sure that whatever you include in your message complies with the main assertive principle of not infringing on other people's rights. Keep in mind that you don't have to always say yes to requests that come your way. You can select the situations in which you want to get involved. Define for yourself what an unreasonable request is. Formulate the limits that, once crossed, would turn the request into an unreasonable one. These are individual limits. What seems reasonable to you may not seem reasonable to someone else. Use the proper nonverbal communication to support your verbal message. Take time to make your decision. Make sure you have all the data you need in order to make an informed decision. Be sure that that is the message you want to convey and communicate it with confidence. You can prepare your message beforehand. Write down the outline or the entire message. This will prevent the situation in which your anxiety could cause you to forget significant parts of it or influence your delivery. You can offer justification for your refusal, but you don't have to. Also, you don't necessarily have to say you're sorry. We mainly offer our apologies when our actions directly impact another person in a negative way. Just because we cannot help everybody all the time does not necessarily justify that. Don't become defensive, even though the other person may blame you and try to make you feel guilty. Again, you have the right to say no, even when the situation benefits you as well, or primarily benefits you. If your message is either dismissed or ignored, repeat your message. The next section of the course will give you information about the specific assertive technique that you can use in this sense. Also, remember that people only need to acknowledge your refusal, not agree with it. They are responsible for their own reactions to your assertively formulated refusal. Your message is valid even if people do not agree with it. My final tip here is that in this case, just like with every other assertive message, you need to take responsibility for your part of the communication and accept its results.